Hello again, my dear students. Now we're gonna complete what we have taken last time. Last time we have started Unit 7 on track, and now we're gonna complete it. But before we complete it, we're gonna make like a quick revision of what we have taken or what we have said last time. Last time, open your book first, page 24 with me. Okay, open your booklet, page 24. These are the words, okay? Now we're gonna say, or we're gonna start with the word astonishing that we have taken last time, which means very surprising. We have said the word astonishing, which means very surprising. Okay, and then we have said, or we have taken the word coin. We have said that the word coin, which means invent or to create something new. Okay, especially when it's a phrase. We usually say, or we usually use the word coin when someone invented or when someone created a phrase to encourage or to push someone or some group of people. And then we have the word dawn. We have said the word dawn, which means when the sun rises. This time it's called dawn, or the dawn of something, which means the start of something. As we have said before, that dawn of civilization, which means the start of civilization. And then we have the word descendant. The word descendant, which means a relative of a person who lived in the past. Again, the word descendant, which means a relative of a person who lived in the past, which means descendant. Okay. As we have given some examples of this word, we have said that he, whoever, yani Muhammad, Ali, Hussein, whoever is a descendant of Muhammad Ali Pasha. Okay, so the word descendant, which means a relative of a person who lived in the past. The following word that we have taken, which was inconceivable, the word inconceivable, which means unbelievable, something which is unbelievable, impossible to think or to imagine. The fire caused an inconceivable amount of damage, which means unbelievable amount of damage. Okay, so the word inconceivable, which means unbelievable. The following word, which is leap, the word leap, which means dramatic increase in price or amount of something, and so on. So the word leap, again, we have said the word leap, which means like jump or like rise, okay, or a dramatic increase in price or in amount of something. So when we say here the word leap, as we have given another example of the word leap, which is about prices. We have said that nowadays we suffer from a great leap in prices in all products. Okay, so the word leap, which means a dramatic increase in price, in amount, and so on. Okay, number 7, we have the word myriad, and we have said the word myriad, which means an extremely large number of people or things, especially one that is too large to count. Okay, as we have said that there are a myriad of invisible germs that we cannot see. Okay. The following word, which is patent, the word patent, which is an official document that gives you the right, or gives you the right time to say that you are the owner or that you are the inventor of a certain thing. Okay, so and so you will have the right to sell it or to use it. Okay, as we have said, Bordeaux, in the word patent, we can put it in many other examples, like we have said Thomas Edison received a patent, okay, or registered a patent for his invention. The following word, which is peak, and we have said the word peak, which means the top of something, okay, like when we say the peak of a mountain, which means the top of a mountain. Okay. The last word we have taken last time, which was the word premier, and the word premier, which means the best, the largest, or the most important thing. Okay, and we have said some examples of the Premier League. We have said the Premier League, which means is the best league or the most important division in the English league. Okay. Now we're gonna start word number 11. page 25 in your booklet. Okay, page number 25, word number 11, which is the word precise. What do we call the word precise? The word precise, which means exact and accurate. Again, the word precise, which means exact or accurate. Here we have an example, which is he caught me at the precise moment that I fainted. Okay, so the word precise here, which means the exact moment or the accurate moment that I fainted. Try to think in some other examples. I think it's not difficult. Try to think in some other examples, Shabab. Okay, okay. Uh, the word precise here, which means exact or accurate. Here it's another example of it when we say, for example, we will never know the precise details of his death. Someone who died in some suspicious circumstances or in some mysterious circumstances, and we don't know the precise details of his death. So the word precise, which means exact and accurate. Again, the word precise, which means exact and accurate. Okay. The following word, which is punch. The word punch, again, the word punch, which means to make a hole in something with a tool. Again, to make a hole, in something with a tool, which means punch. Okay. For example, here the belt or this belt is too long or is too big, so I will have to punch an extra hole in it. Sometimes when we buy a belt, a new belt, it's not the accurate size, or it's not it's too big for us. So we can sometimes we can make another hole. To make another hole, of course, using a tool. When you make another hole in something using a tool, which means punch. Again, the word punch, which means to make a hole in something with a tool. Okay. Sometimes, or during our childhood, sometimes we used to make holes, small holes, of course, in on paper or on cartons using a pen. So we can say it in another example. Here we can say, for example, the word punch, the synonym of the word punch, which means pierce or cut. Again, pierce or cut. I took a pen and punched holes in the carton. Again, I took a pen and punched holes in the carton. The word punched here, which means made holes in the carton. Okay. Again, the word punch, which means to make a hole. Okay. The word swap. The word swap, Shabab, which means to replace one thing with another. Swap, to swap something with another one. The word swap, which means to exchange, especially or simply, sorry, which means the word swap simply كده, which means exchange something with another one. For example, I will swap numbers with another one in order to communicate. The word swap, which means I will take his number and he will take my number, this is called swap numbers. Again, the word swap, which means to replace one thing with another. Again, the word swap, which means to replace one thing with another. Okay, or to exchange. And we can say that the synonym of the word swap, which is replace or exchange. When you have finished reading your book, and I have finished mine, swap, well, shall we swap? So when I say shall we swap, I will give you your book, my book, and you will give me your book. Okay, so this called swap. Here we have the word swap, another example of the word swap. This is the synonym exchange, or we can say replace also. Let's swap numbers to keep in touch. Again, let's swap numbers to keep in touch. The word swap, which means exchange or to replace. Okay, the following word, which is ubiquitous. It's very important. Again, the following word, which is number 14, which is ubiquitous. The word ubiquitous, which is existing or being everywhere all at the same time. Again, the word ubiquitous, which means existing or being everywhere at the same time, which means simply the synonym of the word ubiquitous, which means everywhere. Something which is or which became very common nowadays, which means ubiquitous. So, for example, when I say cafes and restaurants became ubiquitous nowadays, which means became everywhere nowadays. Okay, so the word ubiquitous, which means everywhere. We can put it in many other examples. I think it's not difficult. Here it's this is the synonym of the word ubiquitous, which is everywhere. Cafes and restaurants became ubiquitous nowadays. So when I say became ubiquitous, which means it became very common, or became everywhere. Okay. Number 15, word number 15, or number 1 in guess the meaning of these words. Of course, these words without definition, but we're gonna read the example with each other and try to guess the meaning with me. When I say here, number 1, the first sentence, all people are members of Homo sapiens. Again, all people are members of Homo sapiens. Okay, the word Homo sapiens, which means human beings. Again, the word Homo sapiens, which means human beings. Okay, so when I say for example, there are a lot of living things, but not all of them are Homo sapiens, because the word Homo sapiens, which means human beings or people. Okay, so can you put it in another example? Here we have the word Homo sapiens, which means human beings. Here it's a sentence. It's another example of the word Homo sapiens. What distinguishes Homo sapiens from other living creatures is the mind. Of course, there are a lot of other living creatures, but what distinguishes us as Homo sapiens or as human beings, which is the mind. Okay, we have a mind and we can think using it. So of course that what distinguishes us from any other living creatures. So the word Homo sapiens, which means human beings. Okay. Number 2, here we have the word, or no, the following sentence, which is the floppy disk was a primitive form of the CD-ROM. Again, the floppy disk was a primitive form of the CD-ROM. I think the word primitive, it's so easy. The word primitive, and I think you have taken it many times before. The word primitive, shabab, which means the early, or the first thing. Okay. So when I say, for example, the primitive people, the early people. Okay, people who lived during the Stone Age, which means, or they are called the primitive people. Okay, so the word primitive, I can describe anything, whether they are people or things, using the word primitive. Here we have the word primitive. We used it to describe the CD-ROM, or the floppy disk. Sorry, the floppy disk was a primitive form of the CD-ROM. So we can use it in many other examples. We can say that the practical telephone is the primitive form of the cell phone, for example. Or we can say that primitive people used to hunt to live, and so on. So the word primitive, which means the early, the first, and so on. Okay. Okay. So the word primitive, which means early or ancient or the first, and so on. All of these words are the synonym of the word primitive. The word primitive, and another example of the word primitive. Primitive people lived on hunting animals, and of course we have said before the word lived on. The word lived on, which means they depended on hunting animals. Okay, so primitive people, which means the early people, or the ancient people who lived millions of years ago. Okay, so the word primitive, as we have said, which means early, ancient, first, and so on. The following word, number 3, sentence number 3, bulky. Bulky packages may cost more when you wanted to mail them from a city to another. The word bulky package, when I say bulky package, which means extremely large, something which is extremely large. طبعا the word package, which means like baggage, okay, or bags, and so on. So the word bulky, which means extremely large, something which is so large. Okay, so bulky package or bags may cost more when you wanted to mail them from a city to another. If you wanted to mail, or if you want to send bulky bags from a place to another place, of course it will cost you a lot of money. So the word bulky, which means extremely large, and you can say that the synonym of the word bulky, which means extremely large. Okay, the word bulky, we can say here, new generations do not know anything about bulky TV. Of course, bulky TV before modern screens, which can be fixed on the wall, there was something which is called bulky TV. Bulky TV, the huge TV set, which used to be in our homes in the past. Okay. Number four, it's very important. We have here a floppy disk is a storage medium that consists of a thin and flexible magnetic disk inside a plastic carrier. Number 4 again, the floppy disk is a storage medium. And pay attention here, the word medium, it's not the meaning that which is so common. It doesn't mean here middle or something like this. No, the word medium here, which means like carrier, or like a container of something, okay, or means. The word storage, or the word medium here, which means, okay, or away. A floppy disk is a storage medium, which means a storage means, or a storage way, that consists of a thin and flexible magnetic disk inside a plastic carrier. Okay, we can put it in another example here. Okay, the word medium, which means, and pay attention, the word means ends in S. Okay, it's not mean as an adjective, no, it's means as a noun. Okay, DVDs have quickly become an extremely popular medium of film reviewing. Okay, of course, now all of us, we use DVDs, okay, and we use it as a medium for film reviewing. Okay, so the word medium here, which means to see the film, or a way to see the film. Here, the word medium again here, which is the synonym of the word medium here, which means or a way. Okay. Okay, the following word, which is chunk. He devoted a large chunk of time to the project. So the word chunk, I think it's from, it's so clear, and the meaning of it is so clear in the sentence, which means a large chunk of time. The word chunk, which means amount, especially large amount. When I say a large amount of something, time or money, which means chunk. Here, he spent a large chunk of time to the project, or on the project. Okay, so the word chunk, which means, again, a large amount of time, or a large amount of money. Try to think in another example. Here we have the word chunk, which means large amount. A huge chunk of the audience, which means a big amount of the audience, got up and left before the end of the show. Of course, here it's so clear that the show, the performance was so boring, so a large chunk of the performance, a large number of the performance left before the end of the show. So the word chunk, which means large amount, large number, large amount of money, or large amount of time, or a large number of people, and so on. Okay, so this is the meaning of the word chunk. Okay, I can also say that I have spent a chunk or a large chunk of money on that car. Okay, so the word chunk, which means something which is extremely large in amount or in time and so on. The following word here, which is backup. Backup. Number 6, flash memories, okay, help you to make backup copies of your files on the computer. Again, flash memories help you to make backup copies. The word backup here, and pay attention, the word backup, one word. It's not two words because it's noun here, or sorry, it's an adjective here. Okay, so the word backup here, it's an adjective and it's one word. Okay. Again, flash memories help you to make backup copies of your files on the computer. Of course, the word backup, backup copies, which means extra copies. Okay. For example, if you have saved something in on a CD or on your flash memory, and then you lost it. Okay, you lost your CD, so you have to make or you should have made a backup copy of anything whatever you have done yani, on your computer in order if you, in the case if you have lost it. Okay, so the word backup, which means extra copy. When I say backup copies, which means extra copy. Okay, I think a lot of you you make backup copies on your iCloud or in your account on Facebook, on your iCloud account, and so on. Okay. Okay, the word backup, it's one word again, as we have said. Make a backup of any work you do on the computer. You have to make a backup copy. We can say you can make a backup copy, okay, of any work you do on the computer. So the word backup again is an adjective which means extra copy of what you have done. Okay, the last word, ya shabab, on this unit. Sentence number 7. Mom used to live off the interest from her savings. The word live off, I think we have taken it last term. The word live off, which means to depend on. Okay, to depend on. Yani for example, if someone or his mom is a housewife and she doesn't work, so she lives off the interest from her savings. Okay, so she depends on the interest from her savings. Okay, last term we have said that the word leave off we have taken it with the word welfare, I think. So we can say here in another example, Dad lost his job and we had to live off welfare. The word welfare here, which means money that you take from the government because you are so poor or something like this. So which means welfare. Again, we'll live off, which means depend on. Dad lost his job and we had to live off welfare, which means to depend on welfare. Okay, شباب. So the word leave off طبعا to depend on another source of money. Okay. Okay, it was the last word for this unit, شباب. I hope you have understood all what we have said, and next time, inshallah, we're gonna complete unit 7. We are gonna answer the rest of the questions. Thank you a lot.